Hey, Magnus here, and this is take 2. I tried to do this video before recording on the GH5, and I just hated the footage. But I'll show some shots for that. Anyway, we're talking about the Panasonic S1H, and my opinion as to why this camera confuses me, excites me, and at the same time, is it worth it? Here we go.
Behind you with like the clouds, the sky and everything, and still be able to see.
We've got the Rode video mic. Here we go. M50. What do you guys think? Alright, so I've been a GH5 user since launch, and I've got to say that I've probably used this as one of my least used cameras out of any of the other cameras. Now, these features are great on the GH5. You've got 60p in 4K, you've got 10-bit 422 at up to 400 megabits per second, blah, 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 blah. What all of that means is this camera is legit a great camera for video. It's even got features such as the lumetri scales, and you've got focus peaking, you've got all that, and then some. Some time ago, the Panasonic company released the S1 and the S1R, which were cameras that were going to be like, oh, the next Panasonic GH series in a full frame. But then when we got it and we saw the video specs, we were like, could have done better, and it doesn't look like it's going to replace my GH5. But then recently, Panasonic announced the S1H, and the H series definitely stands for their video-centric cameras. So when using the GH5, I'm like, it's okay, but I was waiting for a full-frame 60p 4K camera, and here it is with the S1H. Now, there are a couple of drawbacks that I saw in the specs, and the specs that I care about are basically that fact that it can do full-frame 4K, of course. But I wanted full-frame 60p, and it doesn't seem that it's going to give you that. It's going to give you APS-C-sized 60p, which quite honestly, when I put in a Metabone speed booster on the GH5 or the Blackmagic camera, I get a 1.2 times crop rather than a classic APS-C size 1.5 times crop. And that, in myself, I'm like, well, why would I need to get it then? But then it's got some killer features that I was like, that's why you get it. First, you've got 10-bit 422 internal 60 frames per second. Now, that in itself alone wouldn't, I guess, excite me or make me want to say, hey, gotta buy this camera now. And that's because I've got the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K that does 10-bit 422 in 60p using ProRes, or 12-bit 422 if you record Blackmagic RAW, which in itself, okay, that beats it. With a 1.2 times crop, you've got better 60 frames per second footage on the Blackmagic with a lower crop than you would on the S1H. So I'm like, okay, haven't thrown me there to Panasonic's camp yet. But the one thing that I don't hear too many people talking about, but this for me matters in a camera, it's the 14 plus stops dynamic range that they're advertising. Mwah. We're talking cinema camera potential quality in a $4,000 price tag, which is one of the, I think it's one of the best performing dynamic range cameras for the price that it'll give you, which for me, I'm dying to see what footage looks like off of this camera. That makes it potentially a GH5 replacement. Now, a couple of things that I really do want to see in this camera would be a flip screen, which they didn't do with the S1 or the S1R. They did a tilty screen, kind of like my NX1 here, where the screen just kind of tilts this way, but you can't flop it over or anything like that. I want a flip screen. And then, will they have the guts to replace their archaic autofocus? That's you have that, and you have me sold. I'll be selling my GH5 tomorrow and looking to pick that one up, potentially. I don't know if I really need it, because again, Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K does answer a lot of my desires in a camera, but to have something that's portable, granted it'll be slightly bigger than this, that has great autofocus and it's got incredible quality footage, it might just buy me. But then there's something else that has me weary, and that's the color signs of Panasonic. Many people can work with Panasonic's color signs. I can too. I just don't like how the color signs work out of camera. The fact that I have to adjust it is annoying. Also, I'm not a fan of Vlog. I think it's too flat. It's way too flat. And then when I'm bringing back the colors, first of all, thank goodness it's 10-bit and I can work with that. But Vlog is way too flat for my liking, to be personally honest. It still works, but 14 plus stops dynamic range, I would be using Vlog and see what I can get out of that. So those are compromise and workarounds that almost every camera has. I have to work around the black magic with no continuous autofocus, no flip screen. I mean, and I'm still making it happen because I want that super good raw footage. But do I need this camera? I would say if it has those features, I'd replace my GH5 right away. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I'm excited and curious about the S1H. And as always, like, share, and you can make my day if you subscribe today. This is Magnus, and I'm out. See you guys later. But,
Are you a YouTuber?
yeah,
Okay, I'll be in it.
yeah.
Hi.
Say hi. There you go.
What's your YouTube channel? Magnus?
547. Okay. Anyway, you can make my day like that kid did today by subscribing. This is Magnus, and I'm out.